Good morning, kids. I'm talking kind of soft because it's morning here and don't want to disturb anybody, but it's time to make coffee with a percolator. So, when you're out camping, you need to be able to use a percolator. That's the best way that I found. There's just a couple things to keep in mind, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But before we do that, I do have a dad joke for you. So, what did the guy say after he found his coffee? There you are. Where you been? So anyway, I'm just going to walk you through this really quick. So one of the things you want to for sure do when you use a percolator, because a percolator has all these fine holes here, okay? And so you want to use a coarse ground coffee. Make sure to grind it coarse, right? Some of the older coffee like Folgers I think comes pretty coarse anyway, but these days people are making espresso, and if you make a fine grind, it will actually go through those holes, and so that's like a fine grind, okay? And we got a coarse grind here, so that's our coarse. See how coarse that is, and it's bigger chunks so that they don't go through these holes. You're still going to have probably a little bit of coffee in your cup, but that's part of camping, right? So anyway, so here's how we're going to do this. I'll just kind of walk you through it real quick. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is turn on our stove, okay, like I showed in my previous video. Okay, that's on. I filled this up with water already, okay? So I just have it sitting here. First thing that goes in is this, okay? And this allows the water to come up and percolate, go over the top of the coffee. So you just set that down in there. So one thing to keep in mind when you're using coarse, my neighbor decided to start cutting down his trees. One thing you want to use when you're using coarse grounds, you have to actually add a little bit more. When these are fine grounds, they you don't need as much coffee because it's more powerful. Okay, so I have 9 cups of water in there. I'm going to go ahead and add 9 teaspoons, as that's how much I usually like to add, because if you add if you don't add enough then it makes for weak coffee, and nobody wants weak coffee. You can always make it weaker, right? So what are we at? I think we're at like 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so now I take this and I just put this in here on top. Okay, and then I take this piece and I stick this on top of that. Okay, and I close that. And now this is where the fun begins. It's probably gonna take about 5 or 6 minutes maybe, depending on the heat, of course, right? If I turn this heat up, it might happen sooner, but we're going to get to see this start to percolate here. I'm going to give you a better close-up picture of that. Okay, it should start going pretty soon. It's been about 5 or 6 minutes on a fairly high heat, so we want to capture that moment where the first little bit of water comes up into here, because it'll be clear, and then you watch it slowly turn darker and darker. It's kind of one of those nice moments when you're out camping and you just enjoy the moment. It's mesmerizing, again, kind of like a fire where you're can just kind of get lost in it. It's kind of the same way I've found with this for me. I don't know, it's because the smell of the coffee in the morning, maybe you had a rough night, and then you start to see this percolate, and you can just kind of watch it, and you're looking forward to your cup of coffee as well. So let's just kind of enjoy the moment until we actually see it finally perk up there. Oh, there it comes. Oh, there we go. See, it's clear now, and it'll start percolating, and you'll see that slowly turn brown, because it's coming up and it's running down over those grounds and going back and percolating. Okay, I can turn down the heat just a little bit now, not too much, because you want to keep the percolating action going. See that? It's changing color just ever so slightly. And it's starting to smell like coffee now too. Love this. See that? How it's slowly changing? It's really rocking now. I'm turning down the heat even more. Get that smell of coffee going. Just enjoy it. Very cool. Like I said, I don't want to talk over this because it's an enjoyable moment. So I usually let that percolate for a while and kind of pay attention to the color of the water there. You can tell when it kind of gets darker and darker for you. So here's another thing too that you want to pay attention to when this is going to be hot right here, but you've got to hold that. Otherwise, if you don't, that's going to flop open and you're going to have coffee grounds everywhere. So you got to hold this, right? Hold that top down. Okay, when you pour it. Okay, I hope that was helpful for you. Thanks for watching and God bless you.